Okay, y'all, 305 Leland Love, talking NM5. We would absolutely just perish in the South this time of year without our air conditioners. And it's not just the heat, it's the humidity that just makes us so sticky and uncomfortable. We're all used to it, but man, we really need those units to perform. That's why we all, if you own a home or even if you're renting, your landlord has to have a good heating and air company to keep things going. Now, if you're not a good steward of that system, you're just going to neglect it till it breaks. That's just not smart. So do the maintenance twice a year, get it clean, get it checked. Douglas is my company for those services. They've been with me and I've been with them going on 17 years now of every kind of scenario you can imagine. In fact, I think I've got a cooling issue with one of my units now. They're going to come check, and we're going to be doing an additional install hopefully sometime later in the summer when all that timeline comes together. And I absolutely trust Douglas to get this done right. They're the best and have been that way for years and years. They've only grown and grown over the years. Many of you have used them for both just routine maintenance and and of course the emergency stuff. And listen to me now, if you got a system that's getting older and it's kind of inconsistent or it's had problems in the past and you know at some point it's going to snap, just deal with it in the controlled environment, not on the 95-degree days when all of them break at the same time, because the heating and air companies, all of them get slammed during peak summer because that's when it's going to break. It's going to break when it's pushed to its limits. So while you've got a scenario where you can just plan for it, maybe be out of the house that day without your air and get them to get you back online, that's a smarter way to do it. Don't get caught with a broken system. But if you do, they've got an emergency service as well. It's Douglas Cooling and Heating for all of it. Repairs, upgrades, second opinions, emergency work, all of these things. Douglas Cooling and Heating. You can get them at calldouglas.com. Simple enough. CALL Douglas.com. License number 2017181. Let's come home to Alabama for a couple of stories, and then we'll maybe blow the phones open and get y'all in here today with whatever you want. It's a pretty laid back news day, considering, especially we're kind of here in this holiday week. A lot of folks took off and got on vacations, kids out of school. Summer has officially started. But we got two stories here in Alabama to deal with this afternoon. The formal appeal to the Supreme Court over Alabama's map that I was railing on yesterday is finally has been filed. I thought they filed it yesterday, but I think they just announced they were going to file it yesterday. But apparently the way the rotation works on the court, Clarence Thomas is the justice in charge of the filing. To me, it's utterly unpredictable as to what he would do with the 6-1 map. Down deep, I wish he would just order the state of Alabama to do the right thing, and that's reconvene the legislature and draw proper maps and not just try to default to a map that I believe is still has some hair on it. It's still a faulty map. But we'll see where the justices go. There definitely needs to be some clarity. And again, I've got to say it, the Ketanji Brown Jackson drug her feet by design. This woman has no business being on the Supreme Court of the United States of America. She doesn't have the knowledge or the judicial temperament to be a proper judge. She just doesn't. And that is coming from many, many stories about her behind-the-scenes behavior. But it's widely believed, and she's all but admitted that she delayed this ruling being out by 7 months. They could have put this out very quickly after the hearing. And so that put all these states into this position of a little bit of chaos and lack of clarity. That was by design. That's just irresponsible. So I hope that the court, taking that into consideration, will move with haste to give Alabama either some injunctive relief or some instruction as to what to do next, because we got a primary coming up. Now, speaking of the runoff, there is a deadline coming up if you're going to vote absentee. I thought I'd share this with you today because it's something that involves me this year. I'll be traveling and out of state on the 16th by the time we get to that primary runoff. And I do want to vote in the runoff. I think I've only missed one election since I was 18 years old, and it was another one of those situations where I neglected to do the absentee and couldn't get to the polls in some primary race. But even those are important. And so if you're like that too and you want to make sure that you vote, you've got until June the 9th to request an absentee ballot. And I think you do that by mail nowadays. I'm probably just going to drive to the courthouse and get it done in person. If that's still a procedure that's in place, then I know it's all good to go. Absentee ballots have to be returned by June the 15th. So you've got till the night to ask for them, and you got to get them in the mail and get them back. Generally, mail inside of Alabama usually gets delivered by the next day if it's those kind of pieces. So anyway, some deadlines for you to be aware of, because like everybody else, I know y'all got some planning, some vacationing and some summer plans. And before you know it, a lot of us didn't budget for a primary runoff when we were planning our family stuff. So you got to take care of that if you want to participate in the election. Now, the other story that is kind of pissing me off this afternoon, AL.com first reported this. An arsonist apparently has burned 2 trailers that were they had donation inventory for the Lovelady Center over in Clay. So let me try to reframe that and restate it. The Lovelady Facebook page posted a picture of the trailer on fire. These were Metro trailer rental trailers. And so, as you know, they're one of the many charities that take charitable donations. Some of that stuff can get overwhelming in terms of storing it. They were using these trailers to store some of that stuff. And investigators right now believe that the fire was caused by an arsonist. So they basically burned out 2 trailers full of inventory that would have gone to support the Lovelady Center. That's just an outrage. And I'm assuming it says Lovelady Donation Center. I'm assuming it's connected to the shelter that we've supported in the past. Some of our early Jawbone Jams, we would donate some of the proceeds to them and some of the other shelters around in and around Birmingham. So that's an outrage. What I hope will happen is the community will respond. I don't have any details on how this all works, but that somehow the losses to both the center and not only that, the losses of the people that did the donation. Some people do these donations. Let's be real. They'll do donations like this just to get things out of the house. It feels good to do it. Sometimes you can get a little receipt and get a tax write-off. Those things are good. That's why all that stuff's incentivized. But in the end, some people really want to help. They really want their things to go to some good and not just throw it in the landfill. Some of these things can be very valuable. It's amazing what people will just decide somebody else can use it, or this could be used. Like I give a lot of stuff to the Vapor folks. I think that's an excellent organization. But anyway, that's a tragedy. I was looking to see if they reported further. I just see a headline on it from AL.com. Let me click on this and scroll down. I don't see that they've developed a full story on it yet, and I could be missing something as far as they believe it was arson, but I don't think there's been an arrest. They need to incarcerate and tase and maybe even hang the person that would do this to a charitable organization like that. So there's that. So if we get information, if I come across stuff that would help those folks, we will pass along to you. We're probably not going to do a charitable drive ourselves because they are the charity. They know how to do these things. But once they get back on their feet and have a place for you to make your donations, perhaps you have a favorite place that you normally take stuff to. Maybe we just need to divert and try to do something a little extra for this wonderful group of people. So that stuff like that just, all right. EcoView Windows and Doors. Let me talk about them. It kind of goes hand in hand. I was just telling y'all about Douglas Cooling and Heating. These 2 companies, actually, if you get them both engaged and you're doing it right, you can significantly reduce your power bills. In an age when the power bills seem to be crazy, and we're going into another demand period, so get ready for shocking summertime bills somewhere about June and July. But the other part of that equation is have your heating and air system properly serviced, but your house needs to be efficient. It needs to be tight. And EcoView is there to help you. Most of the time, people that have inefficient homes, it's just poor windows and doors. These are natural openings that were designed into your home, and if you put a single sheet of glass in there, it's just not going to hold up. It's old technology. And EcoView went about, Becky, when she bought this company, I remember, I always tell this story because it's one of my first impressions of them. She goes, I wanted to have the best company in town, so I bought the place, got rid of all the products, and fired everybody. I went, what? She just decided they'd start from scratch with this brand and build it with the best windows, hired the best people, really vet things, and put together systems in place that help them with their install techniques to make things just go flawlessly when they get to your house. They insure all of their workers while they're on your property, all the proper workman's comp. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And then the products themselves, they've got a 35% guarantee that you're going to save money on your power bill, at least 35% on your heating and air if you just go with EcoView. That alone makes sense to me. And then, of course, other products where they will back, say they've got glass break warranties, something that could easily happen, a rock or a chip or something that happens to your window itself, you can have some coverage for that. So reach out to them, let them come give you a free estimate, and then talk to them about how they engage with you on that 35% guarantee. They're telling you over the first 12 months after they come and wrap your whole house in their windows and doors that they can save you 35% on those bills. You add that up over time. You add it up for a year and then add it up for 10 years and look at the savings. EcoViewWindows.com, EcoViewWindows.com. Back here in just a minute. Y'all, it is 3:20. Let's do this thing. Crocker Moving Services bringing you the show tonight. CrockerMovingServices.com. If you got any kind of moving to do, big or small, they're ready to help. Eric's just a great guy. I always love telling you about his Marine background. It just happens to be the military, particularly the Marine Corps, is pretty good training to run a company like this, because it is just, you got to be no nonsense. You got to be able to lead strong young men to do a difficult job and coordinate people and keep your schedule tight. It's logistics, and to me, there's some honor involved in it too. You're taking care of people's stuff. You want to really treat their stuff with care, but also treat their time with care, not be trying to run the clock up. Crocker doesn't do that. They're really good at estimating how long it's going to take them to do something. I've always used them for these little 2-hour jobs, and that's their minimum rate. They've got this 2-hour minimum, and I've never seen them exceed that. They've moved a ton of stuff under that 2-hour minimum for us over the years. And so same thing for you guys and hundreds in our audience over the years as well. It's Crocker Moving Services. You can call them Crocker Moving Company if you want to. That's Eric Crocker and his whole team over there. Just great folks. So for anything you got going on this summer, a lot of things happen in the summer, even just something big and heavy, one big and heavy thing. You can take them up on that 2-hour minimum. They'll come knock it out and be done with it. Or if you're just getting the heck out of Dodge and you need truckloads, they got the trucks and the manpower to help. CrockerMovingServices.com. CrockerMovingServices.com. All right, we got a little bit of clarity on Alabama's filing with the Supreme Court. I was just going over that with you a second ago, and I saw a post from a SCOTUS blog, a Supreme Court blog that keeps up with court action. And so we got some timelines. So the petition was actually filed today, and what Justice Thomas, who is handling the case, has given the the other side of the story. So the state of Alabama appealed, and he's given the VRA plaintiffs, Voter Rights Act plaintiffs, until Monday, June 1st at 4 p.m. So we're going to go through the rest of the week, and they've got until 4 p.m. to file their arguments to the contrary. So no immediate relief from Alabama. Now, Alabama did ask the Supreme Court to try to clarify by June the 1st or as soon as possible. So in keeping with that request, they're giving them the rest of the week and until Monday to respond. So the last time when the state of Alabama went to get clarification from the Supreme Court, right after the landmark ruling, the court gave a deadline and I think ruled within an hour. I mean, it was just instant. They the arguments were weak. The court had already ruled previously, and so it remained. I think it was even beyond the original landmark ruling that that clarified the Voter Rights Act was a 6-3 ruling, but I think that was an 8-1 with naturally Ketanji Brown Jackson dragging her feet. But who cares? We'll see how the courts handle it when this gets there. So their options here, I'm reading that some people think that it's possible the full court would take up a case like this, but this is an appeal case based on a previous full court ruling, and I don't see them dragging it out. They also know the urgency. So bottom line there is we're not going to get some instant ruling or an instant stay. Here it is on Wednesday as we're heading toward that deadline. I just went through the absentee voting deadlines with you a second ago, so let's take that into consideration real quick. Let's just kind of noodle through this. So let me pull my calendar up. So we've got a June 1st deadline, and if the court doesn't rule that day, now you're only 8 days out from absentee ballots going out. I think they've got to be requested. You can go ahead and request one, but we've got a June 9th deadline on being able to get one. And then of course they've got to be turned in by that next Monday. So we're just, to put it more clearly, come June 1st, when here's the Supreme Court trying to decide if the do-over district race that we're going to have, I guess now, never mind. I guess there may be I'm getting a little bit twisted around here in my mind. The deadlines that apply to next week and the next 2 weeks are for the runoffs. And I don't think we have any runoff elections that would be affected by, and by the way, that would be under the old district. So there's a little bit more time. Of course, this is August 11th, special primary to redo the 4 districts would be what's at play. So there's that. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I sort of got myself confused there. It's confusing. I mean, I ranted about it yesterday for quite a bit. They've just, the legislature took a weird path that other states chose not to take. They took a more direct path, and that is just call the legislature, fix the maps. Whether it passes like it did in Tennessee and Florida, or it doesn't pass like South Carolina, at least you do it through the normal process, not defaulting back to some old map that's already been the subject of litigation. But that's just where we are on that. Needed to do that update. One more thing, let's switch gears over to these ramping up of the protests against ICE. They're back to that. The left needs something this summer. They want discord. They want optics. They want somebody else to get shot in the streets. So they're doing back to their provocations. And it's the same old script. We've seen this before. Protest outside facilities. A couple of elected people will show up and demand tours. They claim these are inhumane conditions and these people have broken no law. These are just detention facilities. This country's used this stuff, these kind of facilities through presidents forever. It's how you have to do it when you have mass deportation. And so Homeland Security this afternoon said that there have been multiple arrests based on people that turned violent against their agents at these facilities. So Homeland Security is not just going to sit there and let them do it. They're going to crack down on them when they turn violent. So they did bust some people at that New Jersey facility, and that's the only way you can handle it. You can indeed, despite what the mayor of Chicago believes, yes, you can arrest your way out of crime. You can absolutely do it. How do I know this? Because we saw it in the 90s. I saw it in my lifetime. You can absolutely arrest your way to a better crime rate because it's human. It makes human sense that if criminals are in there behind those bars, they're not out here with us and crime goes down. Yeah, you can arrest the hell out of people. And one other note, just to be as flip as I can about it, I saw some left-winger talking about the people that are being apprehended right now. And he was trying to make the point that most of these people have committed no other crime. They're not the criminals that the Trump administration said they were going to go after. They're just, they're trying to go to that approach. Now, this is after they spent months defending Abrego Garcia, who's a straight-up gangbanging, human trafficking criminal, a dangerous, violent person. They're defending him, and then they want to go ahead and say, well, it's okay to get those people. They've still got him sprung. They got a judge to spring the rest of those charges on this guy last week. They don't want anybody arrested. So they make these comments like, well, these are not the hardened criminals the Trump administration said they were going to go for. These are somebody's grandmother, and they're going to go to that, pivot to that language. Here's the deal. There is a huge body of support in this country, including me and many who think like I do. We don't care about whether they're hardened or not. If they're here illegally, we want something called, here, write this down, mass deportation. That means everybody. I mean, get them. Just take them. People can come back, do it the right way, reapply. The system's still there to do that. It's been there. Nobody's changed that. The law didn't even have to change to be able to make these deportations. We're not even, I get it that you want to get the worst of the criminals out first, but there's never been a commitment from Trump or Homan or any of that team to just only get the gangbangers. They're saying, look, if we come across you, you're not supposed to be here. You're going to get a detention. You're going to get processed out, and you're getting a plane ride home or a bus ride or a skateboard. I don't care. Ride a donkey. Do what you want, but you got to go. Back in a minute. Leland Live, Talk 995. Stay tuned. All right, y'all, get back in here. Leland Love, Talk 99.5. Let's keep going. I'll tell you what, let's go to the phones. Line 2. We'll go to Jimmy the Greek real quick and go ahead and start getting some phone calls in here. Jimmy, what's up, man?
Hey, I got to say, I got dragged into two women's dominance movies. Of course, uh, Devil Wears Prada 2,
Yep.
and then the other one was Project Hail Mary, which if you watch it, you remember who's on top of if you've seen it yet, who's on top of the pyramid there, it's a female. But anyway,
See,
long
I
story
don't know
short,
anything about that movie. What's the deal with that movie?
I don't know. It's a space alien movie.
Oh,
It's
okay.
really, really, but at the same time, it's a women's empowerment kind of thing in a strange twist with the female calling all the shots at the top. But so I went with the female friend of mine. We go watch movies all the time, and of course she liked Devils Wear Prada too. She said that's the best movie she's ever seen. I was like, okay,
Best movie
I
she's
like
ever seen is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, oh
All
yeah.
right.
I can text you the her response. I was like, no, definitely not. Not even in the top 100, but that's okay. I get it. Changing the subject, I've seen quite a few of your sponsors over the days, and one of them, Tyler Knowles from the Knowles Group, he gave you some coins, and you probably don't know exactly what they're for, but
Yes, and I meant to thank you for those, but tell me about the story about those. He did give me those at the Jawbone Jam.
yeah. So you got doubles of the old coins, the lira, and then you've got new euros, 1 and a 2, which are collectible because they're Roman mint. They're Italian, and they don't even issue them except in sets. And I've got 2 sets, so I broke up in a set and gave you 1 and 2. You can use them for. You can be 2. You can't be 1. 1 plus 1 equals 1 in a marriage.
I got you.
2 would be your 5th anniversary.
Well, that's very kind of you. That's so thoughtful the way you do that. And I know you've told me you've done it for friends and family over the years, and that was very nice of you to do that for us.
Well, I mean, I broke up the 2024 set because I've got a niece who has a daughter who's born in 2024, so you're good to go there. I'd already broken up the set, and it's just a hobby. But going back to hobbies and stuff, Steve and Spencer over at Alabama Gold Refinery, I go in there and kind of a joke, but Steve, he says, people tell me the aliens are keeping the prices of gold and silver, they're keeping a floor on the prices. And I kind of laugh about it, but at the same time, I know what he's saying. The rumors go out there, and gold is a good conductor, and he said silver, they are saying, is a good producer of fuel for whatever these craft are.
Yep.
And it's not serious on Steve's part. He doesn't care. It's all supply and demand, and he's rolling with it. And then another one, I'm kind of curious. How do you like your bikes from Birmingham Broker Moto, whatever?
No, well, I didn't get those kind of bikes. I got just plain old e-bicycles, and I haven't had a chance to.
E-bikes.
Yeah, went and bought those things, and because I really am going to use them on the Western trip this year, and it's been raining since I got them. I mean, it's just a deluge, and you can't really. I just don't have a good place to ride, and honestly, they're so heavy. You have to use a different kind of bike carrier. So I'm waiting for my bike carrier to get here so we can take them somewhere and go test them out.
Yeah, I was just curious, and then going back to going out west, I'm up in the mountains right now in North Carolina. I've been up here for quite a while, watching the returns come in. I'm in a totally red county, and they don't hide the fact that they're Republican red. And then you go just a little bit due east, and you're in Nashville, and then it becomes a blue county. It's just really interesting, the dynamics. And what did you think about the Texas Senate Republican runoff? I mean, it was a blowout to me. I mean, when the runoff, it wasn't even it was just a primary. I guess. What was it, runoff? Whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a primary runoff
Blowout.
from the Senate race. Yes, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. It's it's a sequence of scary facts that are at play for the establishment. They didn't just get beat; they dropped well into the six figures, over $100 million on that race. Outspent Paxton 9-1, and came up snake eyes again. And two times in a row, incumbent senators that have gone wobbly have been taken out by primary voters. The primaries for the Republicans, that's where all the danger is. If you really want to hold these incumbents accountable, there have to be more challenges in the primaries. That's where the action is, and that's where it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just kind of curious how it's going to play out in the remainder. Like in Alabama, I'm still pulling strong for Jared Hudson, and I don't see a chance for him to get it unless you get a lot of people who did not vote in the primary to vote in the runoff for him, because he's way behind in the
Well, there have been two sets of polls.
primary.
A PAC that supports him put out a poll showing Jared Hudson in the lead. I was very dubious of that. There's another poll out today, but it was also sponsored by a PAC that has an affiliation in the race, and it's got Barry Moore up 14. It's not going to be surprising that Moore is in the lead. He was in the lead on election night. But once it gets down to a two-man race, that stuff starts to break. And I think polls will be worthy in about 5 days. I wouldn't look at anything until they've had a chance to start engaging. Now, I did notice some group has started an attack on Jared Hudson in his campaign today. The first time I saw these ads were today. And they're going down this road of trying to paint him as a stalking horse, which is literally what they call him in this spot. He's a closet Democrat that's being put up to run. I'm like, if he was, he wouldn't have been also the unknown upstart with no name ID that started out of nowhere. That's not how they do stalking horses. So, but anyway, they'll get away with some of that language, and they've got that spot running right now to try to attack the Jared Hudson folks. Yep.
Just for a plug for Jared Hudson, if you need signs, I've already gotten them and putting them out. Go to Redline Rifle, and JD will give you all the signs you want to stick out and try to help Jared get across the finish line. But of course, he's for Jared, as I am, and I hope you are. And keep plugging him, and let's see what we can do. I really like him, really like what he does and has done in the past, and I trust him in the future. I'm tired of seeing these, whatever you want to call them, career politicians running the show up there.
All right, man. I appreciate you, Jimmy. Thanks for the coins and all that advice. We haven't talked. Thanks, Jimmy. We haven't talked too much about that Senate race just because I'm kind of waiting on something really newsworthy. What we've had so far, we've had some candidate forums, some sort of low-level endorsements. I guess it carries weight if a sheriff in a county or a police chief or somebody like that gets behind you. You know, everything helps in a two-man runoff in a compressed time frame. But we're 2.5 weeks out. And as far as the messaging, I just pointed to that. I'm not seeing whether the Moore folks are taking, whether the Hudson campaign is, or any of their surrogates. They pretend these are outside PACs. They're all coordinating, and it's a total lie to humanity with their face to God that they're not coordinating or don't know what the message strategy is for these things. But so they're again, they're hitting Hudson. Trying to make this claim that he took some secret dark money, and he's also a Democrat. They tried that in the AG race as well, and tried to make they tried to make Jay look like Jay Mitchell. They tried to make him look like he was a what was it? He was a closet Muslim, hung out with Hillary. I mean, is any association, guilt by association they can do. We're in that phase. I think it's late for that. To me, when you try to define somebody else, you can do it early. You can do it before they get off especially a newcomer and an unknown like Hudson. You can do that very effectively at the outset of a campaign. To be honest with you, it's what the people that were in support of Katie Britt did so effectively to Mike Durant. Mike Durant is a freaking war hero that built an incredible business, squared away guy, decent guy, never been in politics. So before he could define himself, they piled on him and made him look like a carpetbagger as well. And it worked because he never got to get his feet under him and get himself defined. In this case, I think we've already been through a whole primary. Hudson has defined himself on his own. I think his record does speak for itself. And now they start fabricating stuff to change the approach at the end. And I'm just not sure. Well, I'm pretty sure that's not effective. But I'll go back to an old axiom, and I shared some of this stuff yesterday. Negative advertising works. We are more predisposed to believe something negative about these folks that are running for office than we are anything positive. And so any doo-doo they can put on the head of their opponent, they're going to do it, and they're already doing it. So here we go. Y'all look out for that one. We'll keep up with that race as well. 545-9950 is the phone number. If y'all want to get in on the show, bring it. Work Trucks bringing you the show tonight. They're downtown Birmingham. Talked about them for years. You don't even have to be in business. Generally, these are commercial business-based trucks. But even if you're, say you have an organization and you got to move people around or your goods or supplies. I saw the other day, I saw a high school band that had a very nice high top Sprinter van. I just saw the logo on the side of it and I went, that's a pretty good vehicle for getting that kind of stuff done. So if it's an organization or a school or a nonprofit, same thing applies when you need to get it done truck. They're down at Work Trucks and they'll sell them to you all day long. They have gone to the trouble to find the best of these. Generally, they're all coming off the lease market where they've only been used a year or two. They have to keep the miles down on the lease contract. You know, any kind of lease vehicles genuinely used a lot less strenuously. And then they pick them up and they pick them up at auction and then they bring them back and go through them. So not only have they found all the configurations that people want and gotten them back here to Birmingham, they found the lowest miles available. They've gotten them at good prices so they can turn them around for all of us that are either starting businesses or keeping a business going. It's Work Trucks. They're downtown Birmingham. Y'all go see them at TRUX Worktrucks LLC.com. Worktrucks LLC.com. 3rd Avenue South. Tell Bubba we said hey. Back in a minute. All right, 352. Let's do a few more phone calls, and we'll kind of get that cranked up to that. I hear thunder outside, so here come those afternoon thunderstorms. Josh is next up on line 3. What's up, Josh?
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
I wanted to kind of give a spiel. You mentioned about Iran, the stuff in Iran that maybe we're stalling. We're looking for some stalling, for some economic pressure and so on. And I've had a theory running pretty much the whole time from day one of Trump getting back in, Trump agenda stuff. And really what it is that is well thought out. And you could probably imagine every last thing is kind of tied together. From Venezuela, all of it is all tied together, border, all of it. Essentially, the number one goal is, thanks to Mao was around almost 100 years ago, put out a 100-year plan for China's world domination, largely involving wait, build infrastructure, and then go. Well, here we are at that 100-year mark. So China's looking around like the threat that they are. And I believe that basically all of this, not that it's that goal exclusively, but all of these goals are aligned with each other. My opinion is the deal with Iran, if they can't have nukes, I kind of believe that is a known no-go, like knowing full well that Iran will not agree to that. I mean, if they do, then cool, we'll take it. But I think that the real idea was the pressure on the Strait of Hormuz to essentially shift the energy balance from Middle Eastern oil to American oil. Venezuela has its obvious plays into that. It's unlocking Western Hemisphere oil yet again, giving us more oil leases all around. And then in response to the initial pressure of the Strait of Hormuz, an article that I read, never heard anybody really talk about, was soon after that. I don't remember. I couldn't find it. I tried to pull it up while I was on hold. I couldn't find it, but it was on the Epic Times, I believe. But anyway, several 20-year deals got signed to buy American oil, one of which I remember was Japan.
Yeah.
I think it's stuff like Japan, India. I'm not too sure. I actually think that's really the number one goal there. Secondly, the more pressure being put on Iran, the more the people of Iran are getting around to going, oh, you know what? I don't think I want this anymore. In the meantime, I don't know who. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a couple of Green Berets hanging out in there. I heard they did manage to get some weapon delivery here and there. I think they're looking for that side of it as far as Iran is concerned. Also, was it UAE? I don't remember or who, but they decided maybe they're jumping out of OPEC. Well, I think that's the play. I think that it's all really, truthfully, that's all the staff of the spear, the tip of the spear is aimed at China. This is all for China pressure.
It's for energy dominance, and
energy dominance,
correct.
Yes, sir.
It's a broader, well thought out strategy. Trump 2.0, the second administration is much better advised, much more loyal and thought out strategist. And they have been pursuing these things just as you described in that order. And so while we don't like seeing the gas prices be up, really it's been 11 weeks. Come on, man. Our World War II generation, grandparents would be laughing at us as if we're in a massive crisis. We're not in a crisis. It sucks. It's expensive. It's not good. It's probably not good for the midterms, but Trump is taking the political fallout from that potential and doing the right thing for the long-term play. And the long-term play is for us to box out China and have access to and dominance in the energy sector, because it's everything. I mean, it's just everything. We're not going to power the world on solar panels. And so we're reorganizing the map right now, and this Iran play is part of it as well.
Yeah, that's what I really think about that.
Yep.
And just for a fun little touch on a couple other things. One, yesterday you talked about tomahawking some yard signs, and interestingly, today on my way back from work, I noticed a couple of spots. I didn't do it. This wasn't me. I wouldn't have done it. You probably know why if you remember. I'm a big-time Hudson fan.
Yeah.
There's a couple of spots that some Hudson signs used to be that aren't there anymore. One of those spots on Tarrant Road, but one of those spots, it's got a Barry Moore sign sticking there now. So I don't know if somebody maybe, took that advice.
Sign games happen all the time. It's always with the games with the sign crews and the people out there. It's kind of funny in the end. But, hey, good call, Josh. Good analysis, man. That's the way to do it.
Yes, sir. one more little touch too. You briefly mentioned that list of scientists missing. That's why I had mentioned the Ashton Forbes junk before. Which, by the way, he's hard to listen to. But yeah, he went railing on that, suggesting that that list of scientists, that each and every one of them was associated with anti-gravity or zero-point energy, et cetera, research, exotic stuff. And a really bizarre one is, I don't remember her name, but Brown University shooting. Remember that? The
yes,
woman that was from Birmingham, the Republican.
Correct.
Anyway, the other guy, the stray MIT guy that was just, and also this MIT professor, that same deal. That was the sort of field he was in, the exotic physics, just for what it was worth.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's very, it lends itself to conspiracy theories, no doubt about it.
Yes, sir.
All right, Josh, appreciate the call, buddy. That's how you do it right there. Very clear call. I like that. Beth is up next. Let's get her in here before we bounce to the top. Beth, what's going on with you?
Are you calling for Beth to talk?
I am. Go, Beth.
Okay. So I really like Jared Hunter a lot. I really do. And in most circumstances, I would vote for him. But with 3 more years of Trump and trying to get the agenda through and really needing a person that can go in there and has a proven record, and I really take hold of how Barry Moore has voted. I think that's the biggest indictment on the other side.
Where'd Beth go? Beth,
I don't like.
There we go.
They even got through.
Beth, your call dropped for just a second. You may have call waiting or something. You said the biggest indictment for I think you were going to say the other side, so keep going.
Okay, so because we need somebody that can get it done in the next 3 years, Trump will be a lame duck in a year. We have to get Trump's agenda through. We have to have people that are willing to fight. And unfortunately, we've got representatives that don't even vote right. I mean, you got Rogers, Adderholt. They didn't have anybody coming up against them. And Barry Moore, unfortunately, or fortunately for Barry, he does have a good, solid voting record that aligns with what Republicans of this day and time want to see through, and that's fighters. Yes,
Beth?
I believe Jared Hunter is a fighter, but I need somebody that can get in there and get Senate committees and be assigned and get on the floor running.
Thank you, Beth. Top of the hour, y'all. Stay tuned. Here we go.